We'll call the meeting to order at 6:02. We'll start with the roll call.
Mary Ann Banks.
Here.
Megan Clark.
Here.
Natalie Drozda.
Here.
Ian Hurley. Pat King. Amanda Ross.
Here.
Tom Sofchuk.
Here.
Michelle Varnell. And JJ Zanetta.
Here.
All right, we'll move on then to the meeting minutes. The meeting minutes from the May 20th meeting are in the packet. Does anyone have a motion to approve the minutes? And the second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. We'll start next with citizens' comments. So this is the portion of the meeting where anyone in person or online can speak for 5 minutes. We just ask that you start with your name and address for the record, and we'll have you on a timer and let you know when your time is up. So I don't know who is here that wants to speak.
She is the little guy.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead? Yeah. Yeah, if you want to go right up to the podium here at the front, that'd be great. Okay.
Those are what I was gonna say. But print it out in case I need to leave. I didn't have enough, so.
Are these still? Yeah. Yep.
Alright. Are you ready? Thanks for the help. You wanna look at my pictures? Yeah. Okay. I am Morgan Sulik. This is Martin Sulik. We live at 138 Sleepy Hollow, which is right down the road from Williamsburg Park. Our favorite park. We play with our friends there. It's a great time. The first things on my list are thank yous. Thanks for the bike racks from the rec center. We use those, already used them twice. Since they've been installed, we use them, meet a friend for a picnic and go to a meeting at the rec center. So that was fun. The water bottle filler at Williamsburg Park, also great. And for considering the trail to Sunset Park from Valley Park Drive. So I'm really excited if that comes into, if that happens. The main thing I would love, so we'll have to look at, you guys are working on a lot of big ideas. This one's kind of like a small one. It'd make our lives a lot better. I think would be really, really good. But it'd be at a curb cut to Williamsburg Park. The very top from Erswood still has that curb in. So then we ride, that's our preferred bike route to get from our house and then up into like Uptown. Sunset and Sleepy Hollow are pretty busy roads. So I see a lot of people come down there on bikes, on scooters. One time I saw Dad with a trailer and I wondered how he made that jump. It's really hard to navigate. So that having that in there would be really helpful. Similar vein, but not as like important, would be the curb cuts across the driveway at the bottom. Right now, if you're taking a stroller or if he's riding his bike, he can't navigate that and has needed some assistance to get over there. I did bring that up to the mobility board and they said, talk to you. I should have argued because it's technically mobility. And then the big ask there would just be improving the trail that goes up the hill in Williamsburg Park. Like making it a little gentler slope, making it smoother. It's navigable, but I know it'd be a big ask, but I'm here. The other problem that I would like some help in or bring to your attention is there's a lot of litter in Williamsburg Park at the pavilion. Sunday night and Monday when we go down, right there, yeah. We have to pick up a lot of litter. Balloons, straw things. The reason I'm here is someone left 2 feet of string on all the rafters. There's like 20 pieces of string just hanging from the rafters. Look like someone threw spaghetti up there. I don't know what you guys do to make sure that people don't leave the pavilion, leave the pavilion in a good condition, but that's may not be working for Williamsburg. Just wanted to bring that up. And then the final, one second, bud. Final thing was a bathroom at Country Club Park. I don't know why that one doesn't have a bathroom. We were doing like a picnic out there, had to cut it short because there's no bathroom. I don't know what the reasoning is for not having it, but it seems like a way to get more people to actually go to that park that aren't in the neighborhood it's hard to commit to being out in this random area without easy access to a restroom. And then my last note, I get that point a lot. I also volunteer with Levo Green, and we maintain their rain garden in Main Park. So if you ever hate it, please message the email. It is kind of chaos gardening, but I have no problem fixing it up a little more. But I think those are all my comments. If you have any answers for me on the litter or the bathrooms, I'd love to hear.
Thank you.
Okay.
We usually bring some stuff up later in the meeting that you can stay. If not, you can always listen to the recording. So,
Okay, I will listen to the recording.
Yeah, but thank you.
Sorry, I
Oh,
needed
it's
that.
fine. No worries.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
coming.
much for.
Yeah,
the
thank you
chance.
so much. All right. He's speaking later in the agenda. So I think it's you're up.
Yeah.
It's basically, she did give enough for everyone.
And it seems like.
Yes.
So that's tough in there.
I'll have to double check it. Small stuff is our special.
I don't think I've ever been up here.
So she was saying the connection. or
Jump
this-
into the next comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ross Himmler. I live at 921 Livingston Drive, also very close to Williamsburg Park. I just wanted to bring up again the items I've talked previously last year about getting the surfacing redone at the basketball court and the tennis court at Williamsburg Park. Primarily, if there's any way, and this is where I can maybe talk to some of you afterwards, if there's a way to try to move that from, I know it was listed on the budget last year, but was above the line. If somehow to get that awarded, or if there can be fundraising done, or if I need to establish a petition. My wife and I are amazed at the amount of progress that the pickleball world has done to get things completely ripped up, built, and then completed. And our main point is, Mount Lebanon and I wasn't paying attention to things back then, but in 2017, and I'm going to show you guys just, I don't know if I can pair up there or just show you on my laptop. This is what the tennis court looked like when it was completely almost done in 2017. And it looks nicer than it is because it's wet, so it's just the plain asphalt. And as I said last year, no court, specifically tennis, and you guys are aware of this because right now you have your new pickleball courts at the tennis center closed because you're painting them to make them complete. So Mount Lebanon already invested probably over $200,000 to rip up the basketball court and the tennis court and then just never finished it. So I have a video on here of my son and my wife and I going, look at these great, amazing courts. Maybe one day they'll be finished. And we thought it would just be, maybe it was the end of the season and it couldn't be done, but now it's 9 years later and they're not finished. And now it's to the point that every year it doesn't get fixed up a little bit. It becomes almost to the point that they have to do a complete redo. Moore Park up in Brookline, they redid their courts at Moore Park, 3 of them with lights in 2015. And they now, because they never fixed cracks and such, they have ripped up the entire construct down to the very gravel, and they are completely dropping, probably in today's money, $300,000 or $400,000 to get those finished. So I'm here asking for, just pleading to ask for help on how we can get those 2 courts completed and have them surfaced. As evidenced by when you guys redid Meadowcroft basketball court, it was painted to make sure it was done. When you did the pickleball courts at Meadowcroft, which I just drove by there, I've been keeping a log of how much use they have, and it was, every court was packed, people were waiting, that was painted. The high school tennis courts, and I know that's not your jurisdiction, but every court there was being used and there's a waiting list because they're painted. And I know you guys at the tennis, you have a fee structure for USTA matches and PTL matches. No match has ever happened at Williamsburg Park. They actually on the PTL website list all the available parks you could play tennis in the South Hills. Right now there's 25 listed. Williamsburg isn't even listed because it's not a usable finished product until you put that surface on there. And I just wanted to show, because of the pride I have in Mount Lebanon, I hate when I hear people say, oh, I'm not going to pay those taxes. And for the taxes that we pay, when you go through, like, here's just a small, very similar park in Upper St. Clair, Hayes Park, basketball court painted, tennis court painted. You go to, here's Baker Park. Oh, that one's not loading. Here's Foster Park, similar park, just one tennis court. It's painted, matches happen there, people use it there. Here's Brynwick, oh, that's not loading. We go over when we need to play these matches. This is Hale Park in Green Tree. Basketball park, painted black, tennis court, painted. This is, if this loads, this is the new park at Hamilton Park in the Castle Shannon Borough. Beautiful. It makes people come out and use them. It's an asset to the community, and it's using the money that you already spent on all this to make it happen. So I'm asking for help with that. The second point is, I know last year you guys said it was on the chit list for at least the tennis lines to be painted. Because if I would ask you guys, what do you see here from Google Maps when you look at Moore Park? What do you see there? Can you even recognize a tennis court? I see 3 pickleball courts and no tennis court. So it just goes to, it's unusable the way it is. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent to redo it in 2017, and we're now going on 9 years that it was never finished. So I'm just asking for it to, some attention go to it. I think your budget said it was around $30,000 or $32,000. That's chump change when you look at the $77 million that go into the yearly budget. So we're just asking for a little bit. And I'd love for some comments on how can I get, I can go get a petition. I want to make sure I do that legally proper to show that I'm not just the only one. Like I'm coaching kids right now that say, we can't play at the high school, where should we play? And they can't play it in Williamsburg because it's too confusing to train these kids to play. And you can't just go and play at the tennis center. One, we talked last year, it's clay, and that's always a pay structure, which isn't always feasible for every member of the community. So I'm asking for your help in making this stuff happen. So thank you very much.
And just so you know, we submitted our project list for the 2027 budget, and this project was on the list that we submit to the commission.
Awesome.
And then it's up to the commission to decide where the line is, what's below and above
Right.
the line. So I would say, going forward, talking to your commissioner as well as following the commission budget meetings and speaking there.
Okay.
Then you're speaking directly to the commissioners, because it's for the 2027 budget, we put it on the list, so it's kind of out of our hands now and in the hands of the commissioner. So I would say, I would focus your attention with them to try to convince them to put that above the line.
Awesome.
Okay.
Are we gonna have time to come back and talk about this as a group?
This particular item or the first speaker?
Both.
Yeah, we can bring it back up under new
I just
business.
wanna know if that's,
Yeah.
or if this is open
Yeah.
discussion now, or if
I
that's
was just
later.
gonna tell him that just so he could go, but we'll bring it back up under new business. But let's go ahead and I don't have the chairperson's report is next. I don't have anything specific, so we'll jump to the commission liaison reports.
Great, the only thing, I think the update for you guys was, we had a presentation by Gateway Engineering about the improvements to Middle and Seymour Fields and Sunset Hills, Brafferton Park. We know it more as Brafferton. The one thing with Brafferton was, if we were gonna fund it, they want the path connector between Brafferton Field and Valley View Road connected. They want that connection so that kids that live up in that area don't have to come all the way around to be able to come up to use the fields, as well as the whole neighborhood and everything like that too as well.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Petty, do you mean by they, you mean the commissioners or Gateway?
The commissioners wanna add the connectivity part
They,
portion of it.
if we're gonna fund it, we want the connectivity.
So is that part of Brafferton? Because part of it was already funded. It was funded last year. So are they updating you on what was already funded? Because wasn't phase 2 or phase 1, I don't remember the various phases. There was a phase that was funded for like the parking. The plan that
If
we-
it
that we've
gets
seen.
funded with the bond issue, yes.
Okay, as part of
Yes.
the bond issue, okay.
So if that gets funded as part of the bond issue, they want that trail connectivity.
Got it. So this was sort of all the things that are gonna fall under the bond issue. Got it, okay. And I guess I can wait for David, but my question was the timing on it. Do we know anything about this? A lot of people are asking about the turf at Cedar with the field meeting coming up for the fall. What's happening with that and what's the timeline?
The idea is to get the turf done first so that we don't have multiple fields out of commission, because we can get the most utility out of that.
Sure.
So I believe the schedule is, start in like October, into November, and start with the parking lot so that the field could still be in use. And then by November, December, we're doing lights and then the field's off limits. And the idea would be to try to complete the project before spring sports, but, there's a good possibility that we would extend into the spring a little bit too.
Okay.
But the goal is to try to get it done for spring sports with a minimal disruption there.
Okay. So you think, so for the field meeting, do you plan to have rent the space until, do you have like a cutoff date set in your head, or how is that gonna be handled?
I mean, I think we're gonna book it as normal, and we'll
With the
discuss
caveat of-
the issues, that are likely to happen, but
Okay.
I'll book it as normal, and then if we're late starting or something happens or the project's delayed, we can keep people on the field and everybody will know what time they were assigned. But
I think people would be willing to give up even part of like the end of October if it meant that there's better chance of it not losing it in the spring.
well, I think we need,
Or you need that
What
time to
we
get
need,
your
yeah.
ducks in a row.
yeah, and we're trying not to disrupt either season, but
Right.
we're gonna do our best. And I've already got people contacting me,
Yeah.
asking for definitive dates and, we need to know if we need to go somewhere else. Like, all I can say is, this is the schedule and, you need to plan ahead if you're gonna need some other facilities.
So we could say like through at least November 1st, the fall can be sort of as
I mean,
usual,
I wouldn't say at least, but approximately.
approximately.
Yeah.
And
And I'll
most
talk about it at the meeting.
Okay, most people don't go past November 1st anyway. for
Yeah,
fall sports.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a big hindrance on that. But the high school is who I'm most concerned about for baseball in the spring. They're gonna have to find a,
Oh, yeah, I mean, and they're very concerned too. And
Yeah.
We're talking to them and
okay,
letting them know the plan. But, I also reminded them when we installed the turf in 2014, we lost almost the entire spring. That field didn't open until July of 2014. So they're able to adjust if they need to, obviously not ideal, but we've done this before.
sure. Well, they just need a backup plan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, plan for the worst and
Hope
hope for the best.
Yeah.
We're talking about all of Cedar Field,
Cedar and Middle,
Middle
Seymour and
Cedar.
Middle. Yep.
all of Cedar,
The
yeah,
whole thing.
whole thing resurfaced.
It's gonna get new lights and a new carpet. We're gonna get rid of the mound, and have, turf throughout. So it'll be there's gonna be fencing improvements and we have a number of other things we're trying to squeeze in there with that alternates. It
And the
should be a very
parking,
nice
the
project.
parking is a big one too, Pat.
Parking.
The Seymour parking,
Yeah,
making it like legit parking and expanding it. That was something of significant number of spaces, 40 spaces or something.
Hopefully seating down at field level, so, with accessibility so that people aren't having to set a chair up on Cedar.
I was just gonna ask that, so they're gonna
That-
put
that's on
some,
Trying to
some
avoid that.
level, some level.
I think all the problem areas are pretty well identified, and it's
I
just a
think
function
so.
of the add-ons, like where the budget falls and what can you add on to fix some of the
Right.
the
Double
smaller
decker.
things, but
Yeah,
Sure.
But turf, lights and parking are part of the main body of the project.
Stadium seating on, below the pool.
right.
The whole way down the hill. All right, thank you, Nick. All right, is that all, that's all you had?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Next up is the staff liaison reports.
So you have mine in your packet, just, I'll hit on them real quick. Under new business, we can take a peek at, your number one project priority. But we did, meet on site with Gateway and then one of the vendors I frequent, to look at that. Got some pretty good information pretty quick, so we will check that out. Birdtown USA signs are in, finally, we're good. Kind of two different ends of the community where they made sense. Over at North Meadowcroft, the contractor is doing his last punch list item. We are routing and seaming 2 cracks in the basketball court surface where the asphalt moved a little bit over the winter. So that ensures that that gap stays tight and extends the life of that pavement, the surface and everything like that. So if you drive by it today, it might look a little crazy. We're gonna have use back on it tomorrow by noon. So just a little 3-day interruption over there and we will be able to punch that project out finally. The basketball backboards and hoops went up. Compliments of the Basketball Association. We got them before Mr. Cable's event. He was thrilled. They went on very easy. I say it because I didn't have to do it. But they were quite heavy because they all had to be adjusted down 2.5 inches. So,
And they provided them.
yeah.
You guys installed
Yeah,
them.
we installed them. So
They look nice.
yeah, they do. It's been packed up there. Over at Bird, almost done with handrails throughout the park that were aging, needed to go. That's the path from Beadling down toward past the steps, taking you down to the field. Also, we are underway from the pavilion down to the fire pit. We also did 270 foot of that main artery pathway from the trailhead at Bird Park Circle up to the fire pit. That'll connect to the trail that goes up to the pavilion. So that whole kind of main corridor loop will have a little refresh over there. So that's all reclaimed millings from the paving program last year. So that's not material, if you want to look at it this way, that you paid for. Yes, we paid for it in a way, but we're reusing what we ripped off, I think off of Lovingston. So if anyone lives on Lovingston, part of your history is now down at Bird Park. Couple other small things over at Fields, just really pounding seed and irrigation as we can. We're getting a lot of help with the weather as it is now. So that's about it over there. Started getting some power ran over the batting cages. The idea is that we're gonna prep it for possible future lighting of those cages if there's a need to expand parking lot lighting. Beyond solar fixtures that we're kind of looking at right now for that spot, we'll be ready on our end to kind of accommodate those. So anything else, you email me, give me a call, let me know.
Hey, David.
Okay, we had our Lebo Olympics track and field meet on Thursday, May 29, a dance recital on May 30, and a daddy-daughter dinner dance on May 31st. So that was a busy few days. The pool opened on May 30th. So that was a week earlier than we initially anticipated. So we only lost 1 week of the season when all was said and done. On June 8th, we shut down the ice rink chiller and transitioned to a temporary chiller. And the temp chiller will remain in place while we plan and install a new permanent chiller. The color coding of the Racket Center pickleball courts is nearly complete. They were putting down color today, and I think they're gonna finish the lines on Friday. So we're excited to get those courts finally finished off and have some grand opening and other events. That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions for them, anybody? We'll go to the subcommittee reports, Arboretum Subcommittee
No report.
and the Trail Connectivity and Mapping Subcommittee.
Nothing.
Okay.
That's been updated in CIP, so you know that whole committee-wide exists and everything. So that's now in there as a scalable item. Commissioners will be able to see what segments and what parks cost what. So if they wanted to back down from the bigger number and tackle an individual park, you have the option to kind of a la carte.
I guess we could probably add that one, the connector you guys were talking about.
I was just gonna say, hopefully that's in there so that they can see how much that would cost if they wanna add that to the Broward.
That won't be anything that we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
That'll be engineered and
Okay.
It should be part of the Brafferton project.
Projects, okay.
All right, thank you, Phil.
Okay, old business, youth sports organization oversight, there's no update there. Naming proposals, I think.
Just a quick update there. We got an approval on the sign for the Frank Gill Ice Rink today. I put the order in today. I'm not sure how long production will be on that, but probably 4 to 6 weeks. And then that should be installed. So that's moving along nicely.
And Nature Conservancy storage shed,
We're getting closer to a year, make, model and all that, so we're almost there, so nothing new.
and then the Main Park Master Plan. We had started a discussion, I think 2 meetings ago, kind of reviewing the last report from the consultants. And I think, David, you said there has since been a new version of that they presented to maybe the commissioners, and it was like an easier to read document that's in our share drive.
And easier to read document, yes.
And I think, Nick, I wanted to ask, like, for the commissioners, like, what's helpful? What should we be doing about that? Should we, as a committee, be kind of looking at that, summarizing it, and providing our feedback on the report in general? Or how do you, in our discussions with the project list, we had kind of put the rec center, I think, at the bottom because we were not happy with the plans, the
That's my
various plans in
impression that you get.
general, yeah. So I don't know if we wanna do anything else with that, if we want to continue to discuss that as a group, or if we wanna come up with something formal to provide, but to kind of explain what our thoughts are on it. I don't know what's helpful for the commission, what they're interested in hearing from us, but I think there's some pretty strong opinions about the plan and our thoughts in terms of like plan A, B, C. So if you have any feedback for us, what we can do to help.
No, I thought the discussion that you had last time in terms of your priorities enlightened me to what your priorities are.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about the main park?
If there's a new version of the report, I'd like to maybe
take a
discuss
look
it
at it.
briefly
Yeah,
July after we've had a chance to do our homework.
yeah, I believe it's more of like a presentation format versus like a giant PDF. Like the one we were kind of going off before was a really large PDF that was a little cumbersome and frustrating. I think the presentation is just a little bit easier to digest and a little clearer on what the differences in the 3 different choices are, I think was the idea there.
I have a comment. Is there some rumblings about some discussion with the school district? Are you aware of that at all? And also, did you get a chance to look at the documents that was in our shared drive since 2024?
I haven't yet, but I will. And I have not heard any other discussions about
Okay.
the school district.
There's something maybe going on. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a good conversation to have.
Just to be clear, we'll discuss the Main Park Master Plan at the July
Yeah,
meeting.
let's do that on the July meeting, and I'll try to remember to send
Please.
an email with kind of what the document is you should be looking at.
Yeah,
I'll find it on the share drive and point it out.
2 other quick points that I'm sorry I missed last week. Is the Middlefield naming proposal still under consideration or is that over?
Gosh, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I don't know, did I get a proposal?
I
don't think
think
did.
they were still in, I don't think the
Never really
family,
got-
the.
I mean, I really got
Phone
formally
calls,
submitted.
no, I got phone calls, questions, Q&A back and forth, but I don't think I know I haven't received
I've
it.
never submitted one, nothing.
No, I think it kind of, I don't know that it's
Fizzled.
dead, I think it's stalled perhaps, yeah.
And it would come here first with the petition and seeking a recommendation, so we don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't think they ever finalized it,
Fine.
that's my understanding.
And on the youth sports organization, is there any movement on that? I mean, it's on here month after month after month after month
Yeah, that's
for 2
on,
years.
yeah, that's on me, just because
Should we have it on here anymore, or is there any discussions around that?
I think there's gonna be some opening up now with the new athletic director at the high school. I think that might be another starting place, and there's new members on the commission as well. I think we were on a hold until some of that changed hands. Also, several of the people, well, actually everyone but me is no longer on this board, so that's another issue to try to get some people on board to continue to try to push some things there. So it has been on hold. I think it's worth keeping it on there personally. as things may develop here.
I would second that. And remember, you have vast leisure time, so
Yeah.
it's.
I was too busy running the two sports seasons, but I don't have I'm no longer on the flag football board, so maybe this fall I'll have some more time to jump back into that. Okay, anything else did you have anything else, Pat?
Oh, no, thanks. The obvious tie-in with the main park plan with the youth sports organization, umbrella organization.
Yeah,
You remember all that stuff. There's a
right,
obvious tie-in there.
yeah.
There's some opportunity there. Okay, no, thanks.
Yeah, and maybe we can talk offline about that as well, with what's kind of developing. Okay, so homework on 7D there, the main park master plan. So we'll move on to new business. We have somebody here to talk about the street management plan. So this is your time. And then we'll jump back and talk about the citizens' comments.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Erb. I'm with Davie Resource Group. Thanks for fitting me on the agenda tonight. We've been hired by the Public Works Department to create a street tree management plan for Mount Lebanon. And so two reasons why I'm meeting with you tonight. One is I presented to commission back in April, and it was recommended that we speak to the Parks Advisory Board. But also we're doing some policy review, and Chapter 19, which protects Mount Lebanon's trees, has some references to the Parks Advisory Board as some capacity to approve tree plan for the community and to have some influence on what species are planted and maintenance considerations for Mount Lebanon's trees. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of the project and then hope to answer any questions you may have. But just to start off real quick, Davie Resource Group is a division of Davie Tree. And so my role is focused on working with municipalities across the country on their tree management operations, building budgets, writing technical plans on tree populations, canopy assessments. And so as part of our process, we're looking at the trees in the community, the players that manage those trees, and then the actual management system in place. And so we're basing our analysis off of the tree inventory of Mount Lebanon's street trees. There's about 9,000 trees on Mount Lebanon streets that the municipality takes care of. We found that there's a lot of species diversity concerns. 45% of those 9,000 trees are maples, which is an exceedingly high number. The industry recommendation is not to exceed 20% of one genus. And so you're more than double that here in the community. There's also some issues with age diversity. As different neighborhoods were built, all the trees were planted at one time. All those trees have matured or over matured at the same time, and they're experiencing the same pest diseases all at the same time. So there's some maintenance concerns there. There's also some lack of data in the current inventory. It does not include current maintenance needs. It does not include risk assessments as part of each tree's assessment. Although Mount Lebanon staff are updating tree inventory attributes as they do work, there's maybe a little bit more information that could make planning and management more efficient in the future. Looking at operations, we've done operations interviews with staff. We've done some benchmarking with other municipalities of similar sizes across the country to see how staffing compares, how budget compares, how the number of trees compare. Obviously staffing forestry division is an exceedingly challenging job that takes special skills and training to be able to climb and do proper tree work safely. And so Mount Lebanon's 3 dedicated staff to managing trees on a daily basis is a little bit tight. There's a lot of requests that come in through MyLebo, citizen requests. And so currently the forestry division is mainly operating in a reactionary role, addressing those citizen requests and leaving very little time for proactive maintenance. And as we look at the management, again, looking at tree policy, we have Chapter 19 that addresses public trees throughout the community. We're looking at making recommendations to help improve that ordinance, to better protect trees, to assist with management and issues that may arise. And again, the Parks Advisory Board is included in Chapter 19. And so there's a lot of reference to Parks Advisory Board providing input on a tree plan that is approved by the commission. And so keeping in communication with the Director of Public Works as far as how tree maintenance activities and things of that nature. And so again, as we make those recommendations, I'd love to hear from the Parks Advisory Board, how do you see your role in that ordinance? Do you think that that is something that should be changed? Do you think that's something that you would like to engage in the future and support this street tree management plan? We are also doing some community outreach to hear what Mount Lebanon residents think about their street trees. We did a survey just closed a few weeks ago. We had almost 1,000 people respond to that survey, which is really tremendous from a community of this size. We heard a lot of positive comments about the trees in the community. We heard a lot of positive remarks about the Forestry Division, the responsiveness, the work that they're completing. We did hear some improvements that could be made in terms of the MyLebo service requests and the communications that go back and forth to residents, just so they have a better idea of how things are being done or what the final assessment was. And we also have started to do a little bit of community engagement. I was at the Uptown Market this past Saturday with a table out front of this building, just talking to residents to hear their concerns about trees, to dig in a little bit deeper to some of the survey questions that we asked. And again, overall, very positive response from the community. We did hear concerns about safety, large oak trees. We had one resident who had a tree in their front yard that they owned that fell on their house just a few months ago, which highlights the issue of root rot, which we've heard from Public Works as an issue in street trees in the community. We heard residents concerned about dead branches in certain trees, so a need for more routine maintenance to remove that deadwood from trees and keep trees in better condition. Again, general, very positive. A lot of people said that they moved to Mount Lebanon specifically because of the trees in the community. So that value that people place on, where they live, where they spend their money, shows that the investment in the community's trees is worthwhile. So that's just a brief overview. We're kind of in the middle point of this project. We have delivered a number of interim deliverables to the Director of Public Works. And we will be kind of pulling all those together into a final plan late summer, early fall for final delivery. But if you have any questions for me or anything you'd like to discuss, I'm happy to.
In the survey with 1,000 residents, I can't imagine it's always easy to tell when they're speaking about trees that are under the Public Works domain versus privately owned trees.
Sure.
Do you have a sense, are you able to weed out some of those things if there's concerns about specific trees or complaints about, not maintaining trees, but when it's really not the municipality's?
Right. On Saturday when I was talking to residents, there were some residents concerned about trees too close to their deck. So I can only imagine that those trees are most likely theirs and not Mount Lebanon's. But I think in the survey, we heard a lot of issues in regards to, sidewalks, power lines, things that generally are in conflict with Mount Lebanon's trees. So I think there's maybe a little bit of that creeps in there, but it's not an overwhelming amount.
Okay.
Yeah, like with just the strips seem sometimes a little too narrow for street trees. So is there a retrofitting solution for proposing trees on the other side of the sidewalk? Or, does that pushes you into somebody's property after a point?
Right.
So
That's a great question. So interestingly enough, your ordinance currently allows for an easement in somebody's front yard to plant a tree that the municipality then therefore owns and maintains. But I don't believe anybody's ever taken up that offer for that easement. So it's kind of, it's an interesting clause that a lot of municipalities aspire to have.
Also, will there be any recommendations about power line burials? Or is that just too infeasible financially. I mean, I know that so many people were heartbroken when Duquesne Light rolled through. I don't know. It would be a nice thought to know that whatever we're planning now is not going to be chainsawed down in 4 years.
So as part of this process, we are updating the species list and we're updating guidance on which trees are selected for which sites. And so we hope to prevent some of those future conflicts with overhead utilities in the future and create, a better, more sustainable planting program. As far as burial, it's not part of this project and other projects I've looked at. This was years ago, it was, I think, $2 million a mile to bury power lines. And then when you have an older community, when they bring in the new service into the house, oftentimes, or the house or commercial building, they often have to upgrade the electrical in the building to handle the new service. And so it's like a snowball effect of cost. So it's something that we're probably not going to get into with this plan.
Something less costly than that.
Yeah.
I don't know if your firm is in a position to cite, if there are such a thing, the sort of best practices to optimize, electrical line safety while minimizing the impacts on, tree trimming. And I know it's very easily said and hard to do in reality, but if there's, professional standards or something, it would be nice to be aware of those.
Sure.
And I assume Duquesne Light is, or their contractors are, but it'd be nice to know.
Yeah, the pruning of wires is dictated by federal law. And so the Duquesne Light and their contractors are going a minimum distance as required by that law. And so it's really, unfortunate. A lot of times it's the wrong tree in the wrong place, and the new practice is preaching the right tree in the right place. And so if we can get a smaller tree underneath the wires, if we can engage the homeowner to plant a medium-sized tree in their front yard, and then we can plant a large tree on the other side of the street, we can still have, a nice tree-lined street. It just takes a little bit more effort to avoid those wire conflicts.
I'm sorry, Tom. In your conversation or the survey, was there any concern, and you mentioned some of the streets in Mount Lebanon that have very mature trees. I'm talking like the pin oak trees, the maples. Is there a plan for some of those streets? I grew up on Old Farm Road with the side with the pin oak trees, and those trees are quite mature on that street, and I've already seen, I think, at least one of them down at this point. I would think that that's very concerning to residents. And what is the plan for those trees? And or streets actually, because there's multiple across the community.
Yeah, so what we've pulled out of the inventory data is a few tree species of major concern. One is the overpopulation of maples, and we've had some droughts in Pittsburgh over the last few summers that have stressed those trees, and they're getting verticillium wilt, which is a fungal disease. So you see like a brown branch one season, and the next season half the tree's dead. So that verticillium wilt is likely to continue to impact maple trees across the community. I've heard from forestry that there are some streets where the entire street of Crimson King Norway maples are in severe decline and need to be removed. Pin oaks are another one where we've identified a lot of them are in that very mature category. It is common for them to get root rot and fall over, even though the tree looks perfectly green and healthy on top. So we're working on an inspection protocol to help take a look at those trees, identify issues early on, and remove trees in an early fashion. Hope that you can save a few of the other ones, but ideally you'd stagger replanting on those streets to start building the next generation of trees as you remove a few trees each year, every couple of years. It's not such a stark removal of the entire street.
Also, a question about the recommendations coming forward. I mean, you mentioned the Crimson King Norway maples, which a lot of those are also starting to show signs of girdling from poor planting practices 40 years ago. How can we guarantee that we're not planting things at the whim of a nursery trade that that is a novelty instead of something that's going to be appropriate long-term.
Right.
I think, is there a way that we can verify and specify that we would like to stay away from cultivars of specific things that may be appealing in their like lack of fruit allegedly, but like I don't know, I just want to make sure that what the decisions being made of recommendations are naturally beneficial to the area.
Sure. Yeah, we are taking a look at the species list that exists now, and we're working on revisions based on some of those issues that you mentioned. So not planting invasive species, trees that are resistant to certain pests and diseases, especially verticillium wilt, because once a street has all those maples with verticillium wilt, even if you removed that maple and planted a redbud, for example, redbud is susceptible to verticillium wilt also, so that redbud's not going to live there long term. So identifying a list of species that are verticillium resistant so that those planting sites can be changed out over time. Unfortunately, with urban forestry, there's a limited number of species that we can plant, due to salt tolerance and air pollution, drought conditions that they experience in the street, and then the waves of pest and disease that continue to impact them. So, ash tree was a great species for a number of years until emerald ash borer came through. I don't think the new species list is expansive in any way. It's more a modification of current practices, removing a lot of the maples from that list because it's kind of a dead end at this time, and adding a few other species that should be well adapted to the community, or maybe are already in the community and performing well, just not well represented in their numbers.
Or does the industry in general, factor in, predictions of climate change in terms of rainfall?
Yeah, considerably, yeah. And the data for climate change is really only available for a select number of native species. So we can look at, how is climate change going to impact beech? How is climate change going to impact different oak species or black cherry? And so that can help inform our decision making. But it doesn't exist for non-native species, and there are limitations also. So we might know that overcup oak, which is native to Maryland and South, does really well here, but there's no nurseries in this area that grow overcup oak. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So we have to kind of work in between what's available and what is going to perform the
But there's
best.
also a lot of trees, like oak trees and hickory trees, that you need to start small.
Right.
So maybe this could be a good opportunity to explore, instead of going for a 2.5-inch caliper nursery trade with a bulb and burlap, like try something
Sure.
a little different
Sure.
with smaller trees that will grow there.
Great comments. Thank you. Yes.
I love that there's a street tree plan. It's super important. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
When was the last time this was done? Like years? Has there ever been
I
one?
don't know that there has been.
Just curious. And then, is Davy Tree the exclusive partner that we use for Mount Lebanon? They do a great job.
This was through an RFP process
Gotcha.
a year back.
I gotcha. Because if there's so much to do and there's just not enough days.
3 guys.
There are several tree companies that currently do work for the community.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. And then the last thing I said, we have a lot of expertise
If you can tell from the
on
question.
this team here. These two right here. So I would encourage you two to get involved or engage when it's appropriate. I mean, they could bring some good value.
It's definitely an interest, so.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, in the past, we've discussed requests for this board to have access to draft reports when they're at least preliminary, almost final or something. So, because we do have, and I'm not amongst them. I know pine trees versus other trees, but, we do have expertise on this board that could probably provide fruitful otherwise expensively billable expertise to provide, feedback and suggestions.
Thank you.
I was just gonna ask if there's an area for the Arboretum Committee to do some community education on some of these neighborhoods that have the big trees that are, I know in Virginia Manor, the neighborhood started 50-some years ago, and every pin oak in the neighborhood is 50-some years old, and that's the life of a pin oak, or something to that effect, whether it's 50 or 75, I don't know the exact math, but like every one and then every storm, it's a guess as which one's gonna fall on which house. So I think it's helpful if there is something to look and investigate and for people to understand, like, to know it's not just what it looks like above ground, but also below ground, and do some education on that. I think that could be really helpful for multiple neighborhoods in the community. Because I think people don't necessarily know, I have a half-dead tree in my own front yard that I need to deal with, but they don't know what they're necessarily looking for. So I think that could be an interesting project for that subcommittee to take on too, as part of their requirements for the.
No, I agree. It's definitely completely fits into the Arboretum Subcommittee's goals for.
And whether it's municipality owned trees or personally owned trees.
Yeah, it's really important, I think.
We all wanna understand it, cause I think even the people that live on tree lined streets, that they see them cutting down the trees, they're heartbroken, but they're doing it as a safety measure also, like everybody needs to kinda understand why that's happening.
Also, like the areas that are not on the streets, like, I mean, it would be an interesting thought of engaging people on how they plan to deal with their private trees too. I mean.
Especially in some of the neighborhoods you've identified with lots and lots of issues.
It's a great idea, and I think a lot of that information will be in this report that the average resident is gonna have no interest in reading. And so if you can just take that one paragraph and make it in an accessible format to the community.
People aren't obsessed with this, like, I guess.
All right.
Quick question, if a tree is dead and removed, a street tree, municipality owned tree, is the policy to replace it? Phil, I think you talked about this at one meeting.
Yeah, there's different, this isn't my full cup of tea, but we're all around it so much every day, and that's a lot of the phone calls that come in. But there's processes in place to, say, A, what was there? It goes from, comes in a ticket as like a hazard inspection or something like that. Some people can get frustrated because that process is going through 3 people. And he just mentioned there's 9,000 plus every tree in the park that falls, so it's not a quick process, but it's identified. It makes a removal list. After removal, there's a stump grinding list, which happens a season after. It can be a long time that you're gonna open your door every morning and go, that stump's still there. Like, that's how it goes and how we're set up to operate. And then after that, replacement, conversations happen.
It does happen. My mother in the last winter lost a tree and went through this process, and it's in her front yard, not between the sidewalk and the street. It's definitely, and she didn't need, her neighbor told her that it was not her tree, it was a municipality's tree. So they can't, exactly what you just said, they removed it, that was one step. Removed the stem, and there is now a tree and grass around it, and
It's all capacity driven.
and what they chose and what tree, and is it the right tree, that I don't know, but the tree was replaced.
What's the communication process for notifying residents of, say?
Hazard, there are letters that get mailed out, if you do have a hazardous tree. On their removal list, I believe we hand deliver those. The guys will hand deliver to residents, letting them know that your tree is, has made, the cut to be taken down and an estimated timeline. I say estimated because even last week's little storm puts every ticket they had sitting in their binder for that week, 3 weeks out. So it just keeps going. So that's part of what Matt's looking at, as well as what, plans are great, but if you still have 3 people, what's your plan gonna say? I hope it says get more
Only
people.
3,000 trees, that's only 3,000 trees a person, so.
Plus, but that doesn't even
problem.
count the parks. I mean, add the number of trees in every park, it's not even close to 9,000,
Well, I think it's important for us to be, maybe not mandate, but in almost all the cases that are possible, to replace trees. Because I'm sure there's, plenty of people, when the tree's removed, would not like to have it planted back, but
We hear that as well.
yeah, it would be important to maintain that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, street trees add a lot of value to the community and beyond capital home prices.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, we're gonna add a couple new items of new business that are on the agenda. Let's just do citizens' comments as one. So the two people that were here, if anybody has any commentary or comments about those. The one was the cutout in Williamsburg Park. Let me just deal with that. I don't know what they do about cleanup. I mean, it's up to the person, whoever's renting the pavilion, to clean up after themselves. I'm not sure how we solve that problem.
Well, she mentioned Sunday and Monday, so most of the rentals occur on Saturday and Sunday. There's no public works employee running out to the parks like Saturday night or Sunday night to clean up. So I'm assuming they hit it Monday
Monday's a long
sometime.
day.
Yeah, so
And
you do have people going around cleaning up after people when they should really be cleaning up after
Well,
themselves.
they should clean up after themselves, at least, reasonably.
Right.
Should we put a little, like, you know,
They-
qualifier on whenever they.
They sign a waiver and agreement saying
Yeah, so
that
then
they
we should-
will leave it clean. So what,
Charge them $5.
well, I think what needs to happen is if it's trashed on Monday, someone calls us and we can go back to the people. I mean, a more formal, I guess, approach would be we start charging security deposits, but we don't charge security deposits right now for any of our facilities. I mean, I think people generally are respectful of our property and don't break
I think
things.
it's only if it's an egregious, misuse of it, then it definitely should double back and go back to whoever had leased it.
And if there's a party Saturday and the trash cans are overflowing, and then there's a party Sunday, no one got the trash. Like unless that party bagged it and took it with them, which would be fantastic and sort of above and beyond what you would expect, there's gonna be excessive trash. I don't get many, like, they would complain typically if that happens. It's pretty rare that you get back-to-back big parties and then the Sunday party is like, you left us with a mess, but it happens occasionally. And, but that's the system. We don't have a public works employee on duty on the weekends. In Main Park, the rec staff can tidy up pavilions 1, 2, 3, like at least empty the trash, put a new liner in there. But, my guys are maintaining a rink, they're working at the ball fields, they're working at the restrooms in the park, plus pavilions. They're not getting in a truck and going to Williamsburg or Bird Park. That's never gonna happen. So this is the system. I've been here almost 20 years. It's rarely a problem. But, what the resident is describing, I'm sure after 2 parties on Monday morning, it could look shabby.
Yeah.
And if you leave your decorations up in the rafters, that's something we would not expect you to do.
Right.
So there are people who aren't as respectful as others, so.
And then the restrooms, do any of the smaller parks have porta potties? There are no porta potties at the various parks, correct?
Historically,
Williamsburg.
Williamsburg has a pavilion. So
Oh, okay,
to
sorry.
me, I've never changed it. I've been here 10 years now. We've picked up Brafferton in the last 4 as just, we have programming there. There should be,
The field, it's more for the, it's like if there's a field or a pavilion, there's a porta
Correct.
potty.
yeah,
And
so.
Country Club doesn't have either.
No, and you could lump that into Rockwood. I understand her point about it being at a dead end cul-de-sac, and it's like you made it here, and then
Yeah.
the inevitable, you get down to
I
the
was
beach
having
and your kid goes,
flashbacks.
I have to go to the bathroom. You're like, you can.
I
So
was
I
having
get it.
17-year-old flashbacks.
Well, it's probably pretty tight with homes right there. You'd have a porta potty right on
Next to
someone's
somebody's
driveway
front, yeah,
practically, or their
exactly.
front lawn.
Yeah.
And servicing it in their
Yeah.
driveway.
We used to bring the
Yeah.
portable porta potties you'd keep in the back of your car, and that's what we would do there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a particularly difficult location to try to have a porta john and service it
Yeah.
It seems
Right,
impossible.
but yeah, Rockwood Country Club, Iroquois, Church Place, those ones don't have
Don't have it.
any facility.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments or questions about the first? Okay, and then the second. Okay.
Just, I don't know how big of a deal it is to do a curb cut. And I'm not familiar with.
I'll look into that, because we have a process for it too with residents for driveways and stuff, so it's not something we don't do, put it that way. So I'll look into why, if there is some crazy reason why that it can't be there. If not, I'll see if I can work it into, normal operations and get some saws up there and make some noise and get a curb cut, so.
Is it a dead end, right?
Yeah, that's what the
It's not-
pictures.
the
I mean,
curb's
I'm
not
yeah,
protecting the home
personally,
or
but-
anything.
Yeah, there's a sidewalk that leads to it, and it has a square curb. I'm not sure which one she's referring to at the bottom.
At the bottom would be if you stayed on the sidewalk where the benches are below the courts. It just kind of ends right there.
Oh, like
Goes
where it
to
would
dirt.
go out on
Yeah,
Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, but by the
Oh.
pavilion itself, there's a vehicle with curb cut, nice.
Right. But she's talking about further down, closer to Sleepy
Correct,
Hollow.
there and then at the
At the
start.
very top.
And as far as the easing of the path, it's on a giant hill, so,
There's no easy.
30 switchbacks later, we could do it, but
It would be switchbacks.
you'd have some sled riders probably out there with shovels ripping up the pavement, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything on the courts in Williamsburg? Anybody other than what we had already kind of said?
I mean, we've sort of, through our discussions, taken the position of making what we have as efficient and most used as possible. And if we have space in courts and coding them gives them a lot more use, almost similar to lighting, this decision to light the fields. We have a lot more hours of usage built in there, so
Yeah,
seems like a,
I didn't know they weren't finished since 2017, but that's news to me.
It was never scoped, that was never the scope of the project.
Got it. I mean, I totally think it's I totally support resurfacing and painting them. Absolutely, and I don't think that's asking too much. And it's certainly, economically, it's not that big a deal. I mean, I'm all for it.
I mean, we're already painting other ones this week, so.
And Phil, it is an expansion level in your budget, right?
Correct. I'm meeting
Yeah,
them
so-
there next week because each year you want to check it to make sure it's still a candidate versus mill and pave. So I don't think it's at the mill and pave stage, but you're not far off, if you don't take care of it, so.
So it's definitely it's in the work, it's in the works in terms of,
It'll
it's on
be-
everybody's mind.
It'll be in there and the
It's
pricing will
just
be
a function of
updated.
whether the commissioners
Yeah,
approve it or not.
and it will be presented as a scalable too, if it's some type of tight money consideration, I'll break it into basketball and tennis. So if you're at the very end of budget considerations, and I don't wanna say small, it's not small, but you have a dollar amount left and you're like, what can we chip away that's an instant result? They'll have the knowledge to say, hey, we can do half of this service level, so I like to break things up like that just to make
To
them
give
more
them more
tangible.
choices, that's more likely to help.
So that's how it'll be presented, that'll be operating though, that won't rise to a capital.
if it just extends the life, the cost probably comes out in the wash, as they say. Rather than letting it get to milling, whatever you called it.
Disruption, expensive disruption.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else on the citizen comments? Then the last thing was I wanted to go back to the Main Park Fitness Trail. So in the packet,
I'm sorry, I have to go.
in the packet, there's 2 pages kind of folded.
So here's what you're looking at briefly. The description from our last meeting that landed your top priority was to grab the resiliency tree canopy idea, find a home with outdoor fitness, and kind of put a project in there, sort of in lieu of the disc golf concept, which isn't popular. That's all well and good. When I went and just started walking the site and looking, my thought went to that I think this group likes to see things sooner than later and not kind of big grand things and just let's get something done type thing. So this uses existing sidewalks that are there. If you can envision in the parking lot, you're looking up the hill at 2 to 5 age equipment. off to the right is a series of switchbacks that take you from the playground. Correct.
This is
Cutting,
where-
this, exactly, Pittsburgh directions.
Or option C. This is where,
Past the tree, got it.
this is where option C goes. I also want to point that out.
Correct. That's also a consideration for this.
It looks very cool, though.
It's
I
in the
do like it.
text. So here's the up and down side to this one. This include the group that sells this, they have fitness degrees, they are more than pushing product on you. This small 5 series course that's here, all the equipment's laid out in your big handout here. That is a full body exercise for all abilities, all levels of fitness. And it's all of the machines are, the resistance is changeable, so to speak. He said the biggest failure is that you put in stationary things that only have one use, one weight, and you get people to come see it once. So he said the idea to a long-term outdoor fitness is that you can kind of grow the same way you would inside of a gym. You can turn up resistance here, turn it down. A lot of the equipment has multiple exercises per piece. So really, there are 5 stations. You're looking at roughly 19-ish plus exercises that are capable of being done. They all would be off of, and Gateway's confirming this for me, that loop of sidewalk, from what I gathered, is all accessible. So the initial description from this group was accessible fitness trail. Accessible in the back 40 of Main Park don't really jive. So, millions of miles of switchbacks later, we could do it. But I think that this group likes seeing things kind of, I don't want to say, quickly put together, but what makes sense and what can get done. So each of those pad stations is a concrete area, may or may not need a retaining wall based on the grade. It was actually pretty favorable where we were looking. That comes with kind of a synthetic surfacing. We're not talking crumb rubber, more of a thicker matted pad for those exercises and for you to have accessible travel across the surfacing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Things to be considered. So this isn't final, but it's going to be in the CIP at the last minute if this project isn't fully formed or we have more questions from this group. We can pull it out, we can amend it. Talk to the municipal planner, he loves it. He said, yes, get engineering down there, flush this out, take it back to the group, get some good feedback. So keep in mind, option C takes out probably all of them. The majority, at least station 1 and 4. So the upside of this is these are all surface mount equipment. They can be moved. We can punt this loop to the other side, maybe by the restroom, which is also part of the accessible loop up to the playground and back. To me, it just looked more cluttered on that side, like we're trying to fit everything we can into Main Park because it's Main Park. This is kind of secluded and has kind of a little more woodsy vibe. I spoke with Eric, who's the staff liaison on Resiliency Board. He said for this to live on its own, he was his suggestion, and he'll look at his board too. But their tree canopy expansion and where this is, these are 2 different things at this point. So I don't think you need to force those 2 things together. This budget number does come with money for planting. I would have a native planting plan because we'd have to remove 2 Norway maples and a locust to put these in, which is great because they're not there at the end of their life. So there is money in this project to put a canopy section back in.
So what was the total? What is this?
Total 303,000. It's about split
Okay.
roughly. So
Phil, that includes, that I noticed on the website, $155,000 like site work from a Gateway estimate. That's in there?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Small contingency. I don't want to speak out loud, but Public Works, we do stuff like this, sort of. So that's a discussion we can have. So I just need to present it in a way that, I'm explaining what it is. So as long as we're not talking a ton of retaining walls, which we have some skilled guys. So this could be, maybe the contractual site work portion gets punted a little bit. So that's something we can work on.
Is it like behind 5, like further back behind the pool?
Mhm.
Does the park continues back up that hill, right? There just aren't current sidewalks up
Correct.
there?
Correct, there's a
So
pavilion just beyond
There's
5.
also an opportunity to like, not necessarily continue a concrete sidewalk trail up through that part. But if you wanted to do some other paths through, further up into the trees to make that whole trail like up, to
Like,
get
it
like a
doesn't have to
mile
all
loop or to
be
get a.
accessible, but have
It doesn't
like
have to
a,
all be accessible and it doesn't have to all have necessarily equipment, but to make a trail so that you could get a full, I don't know,
you
what
could
people
do
would
like
want,
a
a
little
mile or a,
warm-up loop before you.
yeah,
Sure, I mean, we can look at that
okay.
aside from this.
Yeah, yeah.
But this also is kind of modeled to expand if it's
Yeah,
that
that's what- yeah,
popular.
that's what I was just trying to understand, like
Yeah.
how far up it goes.
Yeah, I told them our intent was to land a worthwhile workout that would keep people coming back with the possibility of adding on.
Adding on, and I like that we're doing it on the, what's there, we're taking what we already
Yeah,
have.
we
and just
already
enhancing
paid
it.
for sidewalks, they're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think your ask kind of fits into this
yeah,
footprint. But option C,
does take.
we're
place.
talking about, ripping out concrete pads for stations. You wouldn't necessarily lose the equipment, but the site work, that would be all for naught if, I think if C went in. But then again, you may not want the rec center living that close to, it might look off at that point.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not
Couple
sure, but
considerations.
is this viewed almost as like a destination?
I would say no, because I wouldn't sign it. I wouldn't do much of anything, in my opinion, unless there's other opinions out there. I feel like you have enough, all the residents have been down there enough that once it shows up, that would be like
I
the
think
cool
it's an
little
add-on
thing.
to Main Park in terms of like, if you see your kid, if you take your kids to the playground there and you say, oh, there's some equipment, then the next time you come dressed to use some of the equipment while your kids are playing on the playground. I think it just kind of
I mean, there's,
expand upon that.
to me, if you go away from this kind of layout and you get into the bigger, almost CrossFit type stations, you're gonna draw that to be a destination, I think, with the popularity of some of that. It's just my opinion.
So you mean something other than like a local destination, like a Mount Lebanon destination?
I was just, you happen to be at Main Park with your kids and the exercise equipment is nearby, so I use it. Or I wanna drive across Mount Lebanon just to use this stuff.
I picture like people who, maybe they take fitness walks, like they might be within a 1 mile or 2 mile radius and they're like, I'm changing my walk to go there because I can hit some fitness equipment and do some resistance training and then finish up my walk.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think it'll get a draw from people who otherwise would not be going to the park.
Sure.
I think it looks
And
really
I
neat.
think the trail connectivity component we've been talking about at all these parks, if we can get some of the neighborhoods connected into that, coming from up above the hill, all around. And then on the front, like if you think about everybody on Washington Road and Cochrane from the high school, they can cut through the school property to get to Main Park, to get to that. You could even have, I don't know, that the school, all the kids that are at the school, if you drive up to the school now, I'm there every day at 8 a.m. There's soccer team, football team, like all these different, the cross-country team could do their runs through there and stop and do some of this stuff too. I think you would see a lot of different uses for it.
Past Station 5, I mean, that path continues well beyond the pool. It goes around the fields. You can hit
There's like
Cedar
a
and,
real level spot right beyond the pool.
yeah, I mean,
Mini field.
that loop is there, so,
The mini field.
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, it is a mini field.
it is. There were bike jumps built in there last year. We had to I didn't like ripping them. I thought it was cool, but not the best idea.
I remember the first time I found that when I was a
I
kid.
have a feeling I
and
know we
was just
might
like,
have
what is
This is a
this?
flat spot.
Like Narnia.
I believe
Yeah,
it used to
you
be
just walk down
sand
into
volleyball way back. Did you know that?
I thought it was like a Smurf soccer field or something
I
back there.
honestly thought it was just an overflow for when they emptied the pool or something, because it's a big flat.
I would just like to see it be used in, this location almost seems like it's not visible enough.
I don't know, my general opinion is that when you start, I mean, your prime real estate is always gonna be Main Park, right? That's where everyone wants everything.
Yeah.
So to like showcase that and grab an area while there's still a Main Park site plan going on, I don't know that that's the best route. When you go with removable, this whole thing can get up and move.
Yeah.
but if you wanna land something and get an amenity out there.
Yeah, I
And
think we
I-
could definitely do some promoting of it to make sure everybody knows it's there, but if you go to the pool, you see it, if you go to Main Park, you see it.
Yeah.
I think you'd be able to see it if you drove down to Stadium Drive, which is everybody
Yeah.
that's coming from the high school, you could possibly
And
see
the
it.
intent
I
wise,
think it has pretty, it's not
I think
like
it-
Washington Road visibility, but I
Yeah.
think for people already active in the community, I think it's
But-
got,
space planning wise, you don't really want this stuff that visible to your 2 to 5 age equipment.
yeah.
You're gonna have parents that are like, that's not what we're here to play on, like, quit going over there, like,
Yeah.
it could create another issue, so I think getting a good planting plan that doesn't hide it as a buffer, but maybe deters smaller eyes from looking over there and being like, that looks fun, like, I
They're
already
already
did
fighting
everything
between
here.
the 2 to 5 and the 6,
Right,
whatever.
Right, so getting that stuff too close,
It's already a
I think isn't the best.
Multiple kids, so.
I like that if this is successful, you can add on to this too.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, keep going
Yeah,
up the
keep
trail,
going.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
start with this.
I'm all for it, I love the idea. But there's, when you go on Cedar and the sidewalk down there, I know, I guess this is outside of Main Park jurisdiction. But the sidewalk down there is crawling with people right along the tennis courts, and it's flat, and it's sort of long, I can very easily see 5 stations going along that. And it's just really accessible to people, it feels like along there, but
Do
I'll
you
be
mean-
happy with
do
it
you mean
anyway.
like
It's a great idea.
what is that? What
The-
comes down? Is that Tower Crest?
Morgan?
Holy Crest?
Oh,
No,
Greenhurst.
yeah, across from the
By the
Greenhurst, are you talking like across from
Between the church and like the bocce,
Yeah.
Oh,
like along
that's,
the, in front of the tennis center.
Hollycrest.
Yeah.
In front of the tennis center is what I was talking about,
Seems like
or the
there's a
racket
lot
center.
of walkers out there.
Yeah,
Might, I walk this anyway, so I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
I
I'm going up in
think
the
sled
park.
riders would definitely rip them out, but
maybe not, well, I think, cause he's talking about more in front of the tennis center, I think, so there's no sled. You're
Okay.
talking about like the hill by Dixon, he's talking about on Cedar, like between the bocce courts on the corner to the church. Like,
yeah,
along the tennis center,
Yeah.
that sidewalk.
yeah, I don't know if this is the sort of thing you want right by the road though.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're trying to get people that are kind of shy to work out, I like the idea of it.
Right.
Somebody driving
Yeah.
by
Tuck
watching you
back
do
and-
pull-ups. and
Yeah,
not being able to do pull-ups, yeah.
Yeah, it's not must.
As somebody who regularly walks on Cedar, that is not anything that I would ever do. Like as soon as I'm on Cedar, I'm trying to get off Cedar. Because one, you also don't always want to walk along the main road. Sometimes you're using it just to get through another cut through. It's noisy, there's a lot of traffic, you don't know. Somebody could veer off and hit you. I don't know. I just am always trying to get off the main road.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay, I think we'll wrap it up.
Oh,
And
wait.
this, go ahead.
I got more new business.
Oh, great, let's go for it.
On the topic of trees, we were contacted by an urban service forester from DCNR who offered his services for anything related to trees. Examples he gave are tree planting, street tree management, tree risk assessment, the Tree City USA program, community conservation partnership grants, free education programs. I think this obviously would be a great resource for this group and the Arboretum project, et cetera. And along with that, he gave us a questionnaire to help assess the status of urban forestry programs. And I'm assuming Public Works is completing that questionnaire. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I guess anyone who's interested, we can share his email with you.
Yeah, sure.
That sounds great, David. Was he acting in official capacity as an outreach from DCNR, or is it like a retired DCNR?
No, I think this was official. And it was sent to like me, Phil, Rudy, and Keith, so.
I could envision whoever's interested from this board and maybe like the Lynn Creamer or somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting
Yeah,
for coffee and picking his brain.
I will share it with Natalie and Tom, and you guys can run with it.
Thank you.
All right, any other new business? Then we will announce that the next meeting is Wednesday, July 15th at 6 p.m. In person and on Zoom. And we will go ahead and adjourn it. Oh, go ahead.
Last one, because I remembered, two things on the project priority list. This was like our month to
Get yours.
get your, you guys say ideas and we
Fill in the
we'll
blanks.
scramble, go. So, the lighting of the batting cages,
Oh, yeah.
talked with Ian in planning. So I had a little concern that it wasn't on what was presented to the planning board in terms of like, here's our grandiose scheme of everything. He's not concerned with it. He said, let me think through it and work through it, but that might be exactly what you said last time, an add alternate opportunity during that. If not, we're gonna do our thing in-house. He told me to flush out secondary options of lighting that. And then the conversation piece will happen later of how late, who turns on, when off, that whole thing. It's very different than having a game go till 10 o'clock where there's tings every minute, you might have 4 or 5 cages of repetitive, so I'm not sure how late into the night that should go and all that, so.
Okay.
And the other one was the, we're done,
That was it?
I'll let you know, yeah,
Okay. It's fine.
it just shut down.
It's fine. All right, we're gonna adjourn because it's 7:23 and everyone's brains are turning off, so. All right, thanks, everybody.